Good morning. Hey, Shane, you said you weren't going to be able to join me. You were going to be working overtime. Nice to see you here. I can't figure out my mirror here. There we go. Let's go ahead and stoke this fire over here. So the canceled this weekend. Well, enjoy the free time, unexpected free time. So they aren't a lot of folks here yet, but if you didn't know, the Thomas Goodamoot and has a um, an Instagram group that I've been in for a little bit, but lately I've just been trying to distance myself from all the meta properties, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, all that. Got rid of my WhatsApp account. Do minimal stuff on Instagram and Facebook. You're one of the few holdouts that's still using Messenger with me. So you're, you, they don't, they haven't enjoyed a time out at the pub with a Canadian yet, have they? I'm going to turn the camera around here in a minute, then I'll turn it back. Only to just share the scenery and noisemakers. Got the geese and my oldest duck. We just got a couple of ducklings. Uh, Followed me out to the pasture, which is good because there's plenty of food for them out here. But they are like we, just giving me shit because that's what they do. If they hear my voice, they want to argue back. That's geese for you. And the duck is like their their paramour. He at first he was very non-social with us humans, but since hanging out with the geese and realizing the geese are extremely social with the humans, and you know, including uh, love bites, I guess one could call it. He's decided, oh well, I could be social too, and he'll play chase, and he'll also join in on the love bites. Come on, let my fire go out. Thought I had enough charcoal under there to prevent that while getting everything set up. Throw some more charcoal in there just to prevent that from happening again. Easy to prevent. Really easy to prevent with enough charcoal. Charcoal is a great fuel, but it burns up really fast compared to coal or even all the coke that I have. Getting the fire started is pretty easy though. little propane, uh, little patience, little air. Uh, then we just pull the Coke right back over it again. And there we go. Throw a bunch of Coke on top because I got so much from when I left it sitting for a month. Every bit of coal that I had in there seemed to have coked up. Technically, it's still cool enough out here that I could have thrown on the propane burner, but honestly, I like working with the solid fuel forge, especially as my project from that Instagram um, chat group is to build some sort of fireplace, fire pit tools. And so, go ahead and bring you back around again. Good morning, Jeff. Hot shave and a haircut. Uh-oh. I think I just lost my power. What the heck? Oh, yeah, it's drained. Well, that stinks. I don't have any extra power, but without that, I also don't have a show. Huh. Well, this kind of sucks. I might be hooking up the, I know. I know. Yep. Camera's off and everything. Well, crud. Might be switching game plan here. Let's, this is recoverable. It's just a challenge, right? We all like challenges. Put that away. Do this instead. I am adaptable, and I am going to forge. Damn it. And I'm going to try to forge on camera. So let's make this work. To do so, we retire the primary camera. I am adaptable. I shall overcome. Very straightforward solution here. You guys can, I'll bring you over here so you can see it. This is my primary camera. It is not meant for this job. Um, but um, through a minor hack, it can be made to work. The minor hack is simply that I have to put on a bungee, a hair tie, or something like that, because for it to stream video, you have to keep the shutter button half pressed for autofocus. And so that bungee combined with one of those metal straw tips that you can, that are silicon, you basically, save your teeth if you're using a metal straw. But we're using one of these, acts as a finger to hold that button down. All right, come back to that. So now we're going to pivot, as I also have the ability, let's see if I can make this all work. Think about how to do this. It's been a minute. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't. I have another device that is in another room. Okay, we'll do it this way. All right. Sorry about the delay, folks. Try to make it worth it. Go in here like this. We will break out yet another camera, the one that most of us keep with us at all times. See if we can make it work this way. Yeah. Now, the key thing here for this to work is like that. And hey, beautiful. Hey, Aunt Carol, how are you? Yeah, it is beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful. All right, now let's see how I make this work. We go into sources. We see if we're going to be allowed to add Mac OS audio capture, Mac OS. Nope, 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 nope. VLC video capture device. Let's try this. Add existing. Nope. We're going to create a new. We're going to call it iPhone. Then we're going to go over here and we're going to see that one. Hit OK. Hey, look at that. It's working. Yay. Now just to put it in the right place. Do, do, do. And then, yeah. Do, do, do. Put it right there. Hey, look at that. Now, how in the world? Okay. There we go. Put it there. There we go. iPhone. Need to bring it up. There we go. I knew there was something I was forgetting. Like that. Then I need to size it. And then it'll be ready for me to use on the other screen too. This may be an abbreviated live stream simply because my power is gone. Um, I had a suspicion that could happen, but when I turned the power on, it said there was still 20% in the battery. Hey, Kevin, welcome to the show. To the show. Hey, Daniel. And so I didn't adjust my expectations until it proved that it didn't actually have 20% power still in there. Hey, Rob. And then we go in here and we add, yep, cancel. That's the wrong one. Sources. Yep. Add. Um, Video capture. Existing. iPhone. Okie dokie. And then we move it way down upon the Swanee River. Hey, look at that. Almost like it was meant to be. All right, here we go. Let's get this fire stoked once more. So what I was saying is there is an Instagram group that Thomas Goodamoot, I believe, started. He actually may just be one of a few that came together and decided this is something cool to do. And it's a challenge group. And I invite any Smith here who's not already in that blacksmith challenge group to reach out to me or to Thomas and get added. There's plenty of other people you could reach out to. Roger Caldwell, for example, is in that group and makes incredible pieces. Like I don't expect to ever win when he submits a piece. Honestly, I don't expect to ever win. You guys have seen me submit stuff here before related to that group. And today I'm going to do more of the same. This time, um, I'm going to go ahead and take this piece of scrap metal. The challenge was to um, create tools for a fire pit, tools for, um, you know, um, a fire pit, a fireplace, whatever you, as the blacksmith, see fit to make. Doesn't have to be a complete tool set. It could be just a poker. I've already made a poker for my fire pit. What I don't have currently is a shovel. And so I think that that's what I need to make. And thus, this piece of material, a remnant of the, um, uh, yeah, a remnant of the um, work I did to create this um, mustache, came right off of here, um, right off of there. I'm going to take and turn this into a shovel, or I'm going to try to. So follow along, see if I'm capable of actually delivering on my idea. Pretty sure that this will work out perfectly for that purpose. The biggest thing is to take the wide part and um, draw it out in all directions for a bit, but then probably more lengthwise than widthwise. Um, but we'll see as I work on it. Let me see something here. This might be the point. No, not yet. It's going to say I have a swedge block, a little one. I don't have a stand for it, but that'll come down the road. And I was just checking to see if it had, such a form in it. It does not. So we're gonna hand forge this with the tools I have. Mustache shaped shovel. Stash shovel. I'll give that a thought. I'm not tossing that idea out completely. All right. Tongs. Definitely need tongs. Use these, I think. Let's see if I can get the grip on them here that I need. Oh, come on. I'm going to need a pair of tongs to be able to put this in the pair of tongs. Literally. All right, so we're going to go over here. Flat jaw tong lift it up. And I get it where I want it. Yes, there we go. All right. It's not even close to hot enough yet. Not even close. So we'll put it back in there in a minute. But here's what I mean about needing tongs to put it in my tongs. I'm not touching hot metal, right? That's just dumb. I'm not even touching cold metal in the with the realization it could actually be hot metal, because what's the first rule of blacksmithing? For those who don't know, because they haven't heard me say it in a while, all metal is hot. Huh. Well, that's mildly annoying. Seem to have lost my tong clip. Where'd you put it, Mr. Pines? See, this is what happens when you don't get out to your shop for like months at a time. Could be here underneath something. Nope, it is not. Well, I can't find my tong clip, and that irks me. Makes me want to stop for a minute and just make another tong clip before I get moving any further. Let me do that, because this is not going to work out very easily without a tong clip. So we're going to set that there. Side quest. I think this time I'm going to do it with a piece of stainless. They're hard to work with, but it won't rust. It might stand out in the when I drop it. And besides which, I'm doing the Roy Adams style of tong clip that is leafy, just like the last one, because I liked it. The other thing about using stainless is it should um, not deform very easily. Now, whether it'll be brittle or not, that's a different story. We'll figure that out. Listening to my fire, make sure it's getting good airflow, which it is. And then we just stand here and turn the crank for a while. Ah, this is when I wish the Mac were just closer to me. And since it's not plugged in at this point, I'm just going to move it closer to me. Beep. Give everybody. Uh, let's see if I hit my Mac every time. Yep, I did. That's funny. Let's go back to Smithy focus. All right, where can I set my Mac? But it won't fall when I hit it, or let's prevent hitting it. And, but to have you guys so close to me would be nice. So let's do this. We don't need this for the moment. Let's do this. Hey, look at that. Now I'm not hitting it. Now I can actually see the conversation. Yeah, the creature that walked by my feet. Yeah, it's definitely a puppy cobra. It's it now that I've seen um, dog pool. I know it's not the ugliest dog in the world, but it's first runner up, second runner up, something like that. He's our little chemo victim, which is also not the case. Um, he just looks like he might be. You know, I'm starting to realize that this is where I would prefer to have my Mac, because if I'm going to spend time sitting here having to stoke the fire, this is where I can actually see the conversation and chat with you more directly. I just got to come up with a way to make that happen. I think it could be done. I know it can be done. Side quest. To a side quest. The problem is that's not where the power is. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Every now and then that iPhone says, "I'm not doing this anymore." All right, we're getting, we're red hot at this point, orange hot maybe even. But I've worked this material before. It's hard. Dog pool. Yama is cute. Hey, Ben, you missed it. You could have been making fun of an old guy doing tech. I have lost power. So my primary camera doesn't work without power. I had to switch things up. It's going to be fun. You guys get to see my backside, no matter what I do. Here, let's go ahead and switch to Canon focus. This material's tough stuff, so I just wanted to get it a little more hot than I had. We're going to square it up because it started round. Isn't it funny? We buy round bar, and the first thing we do to round bar is square it up. All right, smooth it, but don't work it too black because stainless is not good to work black at all. Yep, had to jerry rig a solution. Created it pulled the iPhone's camera into service. Yeah. Someday I'd like to get my fire cam back into play again. You guys can see the state of the forge and the fire, and when you're really like just wanting to have the ambiance, you can just stare at the fire. Don't even have to listen to my voice, just mute me. All right, just do a little clean up here. Just trying to make sure that it's pretty uniformly square. All right, now it is time in. Been a minute since I've done all this, so let's go ahead and put this back in the fire. You missed me moving things around so that I could actually talk while uh, without my back to you while I'm sitting here stoking the fire. Since I'm using the solid fuel forge and decided to do stainless steel, you also missed that I went on a side quest, which was that I need a tong clip and can't figure out where mine went. So we create a new one. I mean, need is a strong word, but I'd be happier to have the tong clip than to not have one. So yeah. For those of you that have followed me since the days when every live stream was forge a leaf key ring, this should look really familiar to you. I can tell you, Ben, I'm doing a whole hell of a lot better than I was, a month ago. Can't believe it was a month, but I can tell you, um, a month ago after ECCC and catching some sort of crud there, I was worthless for about 2 weeks. I think I got paid for 3 days total in those 2 weeks, which that's not easy, but we'll do fine. But I'm not sitting here coughing at you. The last live stream we did 2 weeks ago, I was still coughing. Finer than frog hair there, Daniel. All right. Short taper. My short tapers seem to always have a fish lip, but as this is just going into a decorative part of the element of the tool, it doesn't matter. Worst that'll happen is that'll burn off or chip off, but as I'm not, like I said, it really doesn't matter. All right, we got our taper. Yeah. Something I'm noticing that's pretty cool. Probably should have noticed it a long time ago, but I haven't done as much um, stainless steel work as all the other types of materials. Pull it back here, not get that fold over that can happen if you're not careful. Come on. All right. Back in the fire. It's just too cold for stainless. That would be nice if I actually brought you guys to that as my primary at this point, since I am getting to the anvil more often. Well, Daniel, I'm glad it's been more rain and not snow and ice. 8 days with your cough. Yeah, that's what I've been worried about you, Daniel, is hearing about the tornadoes. I mean, I'd worry about the fact that you're currently homeless, but that's a different story altogether, and one that I think you're working to resolve. So, yeah, current state of affairs in our nation and world, I suspect that's going to happen to a lot more people than most people are comfortable admitting. All right, we're getting there. We are getting there. Now I need to cool off this. It's not cold. It's still cold, cold right here. I don't need to cool it off. I just need to watch my. Uh-oh. What you doing, phone? What you doing, phone? There we go. Hey, Dakota. Happy to see you're back. Free swimming pool. As I said in the topic of my live streams, we've been having beautiful days here with breaking the rain. Yesterday was warm, actually. I think we got to the to 70 degrees. It was a great day to get out there and do the what I thought was going to be a national turned out to be an international day of protest. Um, Overwhelming for someone like me, but it was also very um, encouraging to see people showing up. For those who don't blacksmith, I'm using the edge of my anvil as a fuller. And what that means is it's using the between the hammer and this rolled edge, it's like squeezing the tube of toothpaste. As long as I hit off the side, not fully on the face, but off the side of the face, it's pinching it like between your finger and thumb. Wow. Yes, sir. As okay as you can be. You know, still drawing breath, right? Still having the potential um, for good things to happen. Matter of preparing for good luck, right? We all have to just prepare for good luck. That's my philosophy. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the world that um, people think is meritocracy, but it's actually them preparing to be meritorious in the case of good luck occurring. Like an example for me is simple. There is nothing um, that I did meritoriously that allowed me to become a Googler. what allowed me to become a Googler was I joined a company that had not mentioned anything about trying to be an acquisition target to me when I joined them. And the next thing I know, they are being bought by Google. So that's my philosophy is keep preparing for good luck to happen. It's not always gonna happen. It's not always good luck. There's some bad luck that's happened to me recently, lots of it, but that doesn't stop me from preparing for good luck. Be well, Shane. Enjoy your two pups trying to keep up with you. I just blame my wind on the dogs. Yeah, I still have that hammer. I just decided today that's not the one I needed because I was planning on doing a lot more fullering with the peen, cross peen, because I don't have a straight peen. So that's the reason why I'm still using the Hoffy style hammer that's got way too long a handle for it to truly be Hoffy, but it's got a good shape. That's really what it's about for me, is that in this case, it's a good shape. And it's been a while since I've been swinging a hammer, so using a lighter hammer really does make sense. All right. All right, that's about as thin as it needs to get. I need to draw a bit more back here because this needs to become an S before it's done. It might still get a little bit thinner back here for sure. Maybe a little more up there, but I don't want it too much more thinner. Maybe in this on this direction. You can see that it's thinner this way than it is this way. So I'll probably give it a balancing that way. That way when I go to round it, I don't have an oval, but something more circular. All right. I think the first thing I need to do is warm it up so I can straighten it. Here, let's uh let's take you on a short journey. Since this is not tethered to anything, I can take you right out and use it like one does a phone. Well, that is if I can figure out how I got it wedged in here. Ugh, come on. I know how it's broken. There we go. There we go. Take you on a short journey. We got Bruce down there sneaking in. There he is. There's Bruce. And I go out here, and I think that's Laurel. It's not being as loud as she usually is, but every time I make a noise, she's going to try and make a noise. And a Hardy, I think, is over there enjoying some water out of a pail. And then Ghost is the duck, an Indian runner that has decided they're his mates. He can't do anything with them, but he's decided. And then we just got him some possible mates, some Indian runners from a farm nearby. So that's good. All right, let's put you back here. I don't see Percy, or I'd show you the peacock. He's been beautiful lately. We now just got him three peahens, and one of them is laying. So we may be hatching pea chicks here soon. Hi, Ghost. You coming over to check on your other girlfriend? He bounces between them all day long. No, it's, yeah, I know. Too many fingers. I got it. I'm not using it hoppy style, except to say that I'm using it with a loose grip, which is something that early Smiths don't know about, and established Smiths hopefully figure out, or else they've just gotten used to having tennis elbow. I had tennis elbow. That's what made me decide to start doing more research and better understand what I was doing wrong. Of course, if you work in the trades that involve swinging a hammer, you probably knew it a lot sooner. But the person that I grew up with who was in the trades, he never bothered to tell us things like that. Teach us that you want a loose grip when you're swinging a hammer. But as far as hoppy's concerned, a loose grip is just two fingers. You know what's really funny about your statement about resistance is entertaining, Daniel, is the system that I had to use while at Google for processing data um, was called the Borg. So there you go. It was basically the um, early parts of Hadoop and Spark, I believe, but I could be wrong there. No, smaller does not mean less work. If you watch if you watch a little person run, you realize it means more work. All right, that looks more balanced. Let's uh, let's see about bringing that balance all the way up. Clean it up. So, anybody ever play that little slide puzzle game where you have to move a bunch of numbers around and get them in the right order? Most of life reminds me of that game, especially any kind of creative endeavor seems to remind me of that game. Um, or I should say many creative endeavors. I don't know about any. Um, now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is much of life has to get messier before it gets, uh, before the vision is delivered. Rubik's Cube, same kind of thing. You have to seem to, it feels like you have to cause disorder to then um, have order reemerge. I I don't have a lot of faith that the current administration is has that in mind. I think they're causing disorder so that they can reorder things to their best liking, not necessarily ours. But we can hold out hope, I suppose, that I'm wrong, um, while we work to resist as much of the pain that's being caused as possible. But you see it also in blacksmithing. The fuller, you have to basically put in a bunch of divots in your metal that you then clean up later to have the result you're looking for. There's a comedian I was watching the other day, Ben. Um, what the heck is his name? I can't think of his name now. Funny. Um, I believe he's, one would say he's got dwarfism, but a really funny comedian who leans into, being a small person, um, but not by way of ridiculing himself, but instead, you know, trying to help people see the humor that he lives with in his life, um, rather than the pain that could be felt. I don't know. I just think he's funny, and he's got a pretty decent message if you give it time to penetrate. Let me go back over here and we clean up the bits. It's also known as planishing. I don't know how much of that I can get away with on stainless steel without causing fractures, but try to get away with a little bit. Brad Williams, that's right. He's awesome. All us little people know each other. He educated me. I was under the impression that dwarfism um, was a hereditary thing, and I would suspect there is some sort of you know um, genetic element, but as in it's not an environmental element. I don't think his mother had too many tequilas or something, but I wasn't really. I didn't never gave it any thought that little people weren't necessarily born of other little people, but um, he decided to inform his audience that his parents are normal sized people. So, all right, let's get a little bit more of this because I got to turn it into an S. That looks pretty well squared up. You know what's really funny is the first one I made so long ago, I honestly don't remember the process at all. I probably just watched Roy's video over and over again to try and figure it out. Now I'm just winging it. Tequila. A good tequila is exceptional. I've had the run of the mill tequilas, and I don't dislike tequila, so that's nice. But I've had some really good tequilas. I got an $80 bottle of tequila in the house that will last me forever because number one, you only sip the stuff. This is not a mix-in tequila. It's a gloriously flavorful um, tequila. It's something to pour over ice, let chill just a little bit, enjoy. Having it watered down just a hair doesn't hurt to let it let it not burn your throat, but instead expand the flavor in your on the palate. So again, for those who are not Smiths who are here, I am doing the exact same thing I was doing on the front here, using that um, rolled edge as a fuller. I'm just doing it on the back side now because it's more convenient. It's not as visual for you, but it is more convenient right now for me. Ah, all right. I think we are now at the point where, let's see, is that going to be long enough when I round it? Let's round it and find out, right? I think when I watched Roy's, he basically gave me measurements to work with, which was convenient. Me, I'm just, like I said, just winging it. Oh, look at the pretty temper colors coming up. You wouldn't have expected it maybe from stainless steel. A nice, beautiful rainbow going on there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Bring it closer. True duck camera. There we go. Definitely can see it. Oh yeah. iPhone cameras are pretty freaking good. Just you got to stop and smell the roses sometimes, you know, people. And sometimes the rose just is the metaphorical rose is just breathing, taking time to not be um, in the fracas of it all. Look at what's happening around you. Take a moment to smell things, to see things, to hear things, rather than always being um, in your head or listening to a podcast or watching a video or playing a video game. This is not an easy thing for me, but it is a very important thing to do. Your sister's taller than her than you, and your 13-year-old too. Oh no, that's okay. The shortest one in my family um, was my youngest son, and everybody gave him so much grief over being so small. And now he is the tallest and biggest of them all. Not for certain biggest, but I think he is the biggest of them all. Bigger than his two brothers, bigger than me, of course. I'm like 6'1" on a good day. I think he's more close to 6'3", and his brothers are 6'1" to 6'2". So it's fun to see how the tables turn. Field of Dreams bourbon, neat. So I assume that cornfield then is part and parcel to the creation process of that. I hope it's good and not just a a marketing ploy using the movie for identity. For folks who are paying attention, it's like I don't know the. Let me see. Today is I don't know. It's somewhere around the 20th day of spring, and oof, that hurt. Touched it where I shouldn't have. Touched it where I shouldn't have. Ugh. Plunge your hand into the cold bucket of water. Pull the heat out of the burn. Burns do happen. It was hotter than I expected, mainly because where I'm touching feels ice cold. And I was just trying to brush off coal dust. And one should not do that, it turns out. Let's get that heat back in it again, because cooling off a burn, and that is first aid number one. First aid uh, tip number one: always quickly cool a burn. Um, Pull the heat out of it. It's sort of like when you make a steak. The idea is everybody talks about pulling the steak off early from the grill and then letting it stand, and that's because the steak keeps on cooking. There's this residual heat there. Well, this is the key here: is we want to get the residual heat out as fast as possible so the burn doesn't go deep. It just becomes a surface burn. That's what it feels like. Thankfully, I got off of it fast and into the water. Yep, here's my sign. What was that first rule of blacksmithing again? All right. Well, I don't have the metal position where I need it to affect the heat where I want it. Let's see, how are we doing on power here? Because once the power is gone, we have no live stream. Oh, we're doing all right. I guess my mic doesn't really need to be powered to be able to do an effective live stream for a length of time. That's good to know. Exactly, Daniel. What was my what's my problem? ADHD doesn't figure into it at all, right? All right. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. We're just cleaning up at this point. All right. I'm going to go ahead and prepare this side to be a leaf. Yeah. Nice transition there. Let's do this one the same way. This one isn't tapered nearly as much, so I probably need to do something about that. All right. I may have to switch the tongs here in a minute because it's definitely getting warmer and warmer because I'm having to go deeper into the fire to heat up the area I want. But we're coming along. I don't have a very large fire pot going on today. Um, fire pot. I don't know what the. So this is a V-shaped forge for people who aren't familiar with my forge. I'll bring you over to it so you can see it. And it's really best for work like this or fire pokers or blades, you know, really big blades if you really want to. Although I've done very few very big projects in this. I'll bring you over and show you while I'm turning the crank here. For the folks who weren't with me in the early days when I described this forge, this is a Whitlock wood forge, not charcoal, not coal, wood. Now, mind you, I don't have a whole lot of dry wood at this time of year. Come summer, I'll have dry wood. Um, and then I can use it in the way it was designed. And what it is intended to do, the reason for the V shape is you stack wood up along the sides and it turns into charcoal. It gets cooked into charcoal, which then becomes hot enough to actually do forging. Um, it has this neat innovation, though, that I don't think I've heard of anywhere. And that is it has a tweer pipe running all the way through. Um, the air is hand crank. I can get a electric, but again, that means power has to always be consistent. And back here, it pushes air into the back side of the tweer pipe. The tweer pipe goes all the way up to the front, and this, which I can't touch because it gets too damned hot, allows me to dial open ports all the way back. Right now, I'm set to one, yeah, which technically opens up two ports. One right at the front, one behind, a couple inches behind that. And that's why the fire is very, very well isolated to where it is, which I can show better from this view. As you can see back there, there's more coke stacked behind it. Um, but it can go way back there for, like I said, doing something like a sword. Um, but I've got it very tightly isolated because I don't need much more fire than that. Oftentimes I'll put it on two, which opens up two ports, and well, technically three, but it opens up one more port behind the two that are open right now, while also shutting down the first one to a slit instead of a hole, to force more air to the back rather than the front. So it's a very ingenious design for a forge, to allow you to not have to buy charcoal or cook charcoal, but instead use the wood you would have turned to charcoal right in here, and it just chars it up and uses the resulting char for your forge, um, and you're all set to go. So let me back out here, bring you back to the go. All right, now we squared it. Make sure that it's square. Cool. And now we can come here. Actually, we'll do it from here. And we can start turning that into a point, to the point where we basically can pull it off of here, having turned it into a point. But we need more heat again, and we don't need it as far back as I was putting it. So let's chill what I'm holding, because now it's not cold there anymore. It's now a hand warmer warmth. And we don't want that. We don't need that much heat that far back. It's really silly that I'm supposed to be making a fireplace shovel, and this is what I'm doing instead. But make sure I get there it is. Hey, look at that! I got a notification that I've gotten over 100 messages, and that's all thanks to you guys. So cheers to you. Shovel shaped like a mustache. Well, first I have to make a tong clip so I can hold the piece that turns it into the shovel, that I turn into the shovel. All right, so we're gonna start setting it down here, and then I'll turn it over and start doing it from the other side because that's where it really needs to be done. But this way you get to see it. The other side you wouldn't see as clearly. All right, so now, oh, get back on there. And you see it happening. We're basically working on getting this to be very similar to this. That's the goal. So we can have two leaves, one on each end of the S. What's really funny is if I wanted to, I could turn the leaves the same basic shape. I could literally turn the leaves into mustaches. But I don't think mustaches and tong clips would interact as well as leaves on a tong clip. I assume you meant a Fu Manchu. All right, let's continue this process of. Believe it or not, the goal here is to get this part so thin that it'll practically just snap off. And I know that sounds hilarious considering how many times I've done it accidentally. This time, I'm doing it on purpose. And you can see it's coming right along. We got a little twist in there, and well, twist isn't going to hurt anything here. But you can see, happening as intended. Be well, Daniel. Have a great week. See you at Blacksmith Church next week. Let's pull some fuel on top here so we don't lose all the heat and we get some more going. And about the only thing that wasn't obvious to me when I got this forge was that even though I don't have ports open um, further past that spot, the airflow is such that it'll move up and down that V valley. And so coal will end up getting lit and cook into coke. And that's pretty much how I ended up leaving something cooking coke. Um, that one time I left everything for a while. Just straightening things out because it's hard to work things in the forge, on the anvil, when it's all bent out of shape. All right. It also helps with the straightening that I was saying was going to need to happen. There we go. That would snap off in a heartbeat if I just gave it a little bit of force. But I think I will put it back in the forge one more time. And instead of snapping it off, we'll probably just pinch it off. Just like Ben. I'm, nobody's come to take away my YouTube privileges yet, so I guess so. I mean, and I do have some of um, this white powder with a spoon meant to, you know, scoop it and use it. So for the kiddos who stop by and see this, no, this is not Coke. Um, this is um, oh, come on, kills ants. This is actually a detergent, but its primary ingredient that makes it effective, and as both a detergent and as a forge flux, is called borax, and that's not Coke. On the other hand, on the other hand, it'd be good if I actually had a hand. We'll go here, and I'll show you coal, which is basically black hard rocks, tiny black hard rocks, and the coal, when heated, becomes something more like pumice stone, and we call that coke. And the process of doing that, turning coal into the pumice rock, is called coking. So I've now done my duty to um, those kids that might happen upon the videos, unlikely as that may be, but we are also on Twitch, so it's not impossible. Um, can can know what we're actually talking about when we're joking about whether or not I'm really allowed to say Coke on the internet or not. Well, it's the old guys who would actually throw a fit about being said, right? Yeah, yeah. Don't put the stuff in your eyes, Ben. All right. I think, put this back in there while I do it. I think it's time to switch back over here. Not there. There. There we go. And let's go ahead and get this off the metal. I mean, off the bar. I think I can show you how that's going to be done. Very technical. You basically get it so thin, it has no strength left. And really, just can't stay there anymore. If I take it over to a sharp point right now, I can literally just smack and it's off. And then I can cool this. Probably cause myself all sorts of trouble the next time I try to use it. Throw it on the ground. But I cooled it because I don't want my dog stepping on it. And then don't reach down with your fingers to pick it up, you dummy. Go grab a pair of tongs. I use these cute little pair of tongs that I got from the blacksmith who sold me a bunch of his equipment. Yeah, Bruce, you just showed up just in time to burn the bejesus out of yourself if you're not careful. So there we have the preform for what I'm going to do with it is to round this into a stem, right? Turn these into leaves on the diamonds, and then turn it into an S hook. And that S hook will work as a tong clip. So first thing we'll do, I'm just going to do a tiny bit of cleanup right here at the tip, just the tip. We'll go ahead and grab that on with the V cut in the tongs. Keep it where it needs to be. Cherry Coke is the bomb. Shirley Temples. Mm-mm. I'm trying to remember if I'm old enough. I think there was such a place. Um, I know my dad had an ice cream shop. That much I do know. And I think he had a soda fountain back when I was about, come on, think about it real hard. Somewhere between 5 and 7 years old in a small town named Rantoul, Illinois. And I created a big disturbance in my family's ability to function within that community because I had the gall to be a kid who saw another kid and befriended him. A new kid in the neighborhood who nobody was given the time of day to, which I fully felt because that was very common for me. And I was like, nope, that's it. I will definitely befriend this kid. Oh, before I do that, I need to round all this up. I just realized, oh, yeah, no, I can do the cleanup. That's right. Minor amount of cleanup. All right. All right. Nice and clean tip. Let's go ahead and get the stem rounded up. I've learned the lesson early enough. Don't make the leaf while still working everything else. But the reason it caused such a stir was that young kid, his name was Patrick. I don't remember things all that easily, especially from my childhood, much less in my adulthood. Um, but his name was Patrick, and I befriended him. And then not too long later, my parents said I couldn't be friends with Patrick. I didn't understand why until I was an adult, young adult, but an adult all the same. And it's because Patrick was black. And his family was the first black family to have the gall to move into the neighborhood, to have the gall and the money. Most likely, he was, like so many in that area, a military brat, just like I was, because Rantoul is next to Sinoot Air Force Base. But that family was not ready for the racism of the area. And my family, having just decided this is where we're going to set down roots, wasn't ready to have their business plate glass window have a brick thrown through it and have all their pinochle friends stop wanting to come over and play, all because I made friends with this little boy who was being ignored by so many. And 30 years later, when I thought racism had been stamped out, I finally understood, in most places that is, I finally understood why there's so much distrust by a population, by the black population, for white people, even while, you know, I'm not racist. They don't know that. And their mamas and grandmamas told them beware, teach them to beware, and tell them how racism and institutional racism has prevented their successes. And then the world sits there and argues that there is no such thing, when most certainly there is. And I lived through some of it, um, not as a purveyor, not as a person who um, was being the racism was being directed against directly, but it did impact my ability to have a friend who was a really, kind kid. And that's saying something because kids are not always kind, right? Every time you think you're not affected by racism, you got to remember that the people that you think are affected by racism, if indeed you think they are, you understand the reality of things, are limited in such a way that it does affect you. And we should all be fighting and be anti-racist, because your ability to be a light and love people for who they are, not what people are saying they are, is limited by those people. Anyway, point being, my dad might have actually been a soda jerk. I can't remember. I do remember um, ice cream. I do remember wax teeth on the counter in a jar, wax lips on a counter in a jar. I remember those things. And I vaguely remember that maybe, no, I know for a fact he made ice cream floats and shakes. I just can't remember if he ever made his own, Italian soda type sodas or phosphates or anything like that. Like I said, childhood memories are hard for me to begin with. As I was never much of a fan of Coke to begin with, though, I probably never would have had that style of soda from his counter. It probably would have been a Shirley Temple or um, what's the one that they use the same thing except with um, oh come on, 7 Up with Sprite, 7 Up, type of lemon lime soda. They would do the same thing. They would add the cherry to it. All right, that's nicely rounded up. Nothing is too thin, such that I'm afraid that it will be compromised strength wise when I go to work it into an S. All right. One of the things I'm noticing, I could be wrong here. It could be just that it pops off in much very very tiny flakes instead of the bigger ones. But it feels like the stainless steel doesn't create as much forge scale, which would make sense because the one thing about stainless steel they say is it's not supposed to rust as much, right? Or rust as easily. For everybody who doesn't know this, stainless steel does rust. Go look at a few Cybertrucks, you'll see it. Um, but it doesn't rust as easily. Um, and so, um, because it doesn't rust as easily, and forge scale is just instant rust that's caused by, you know, the heat expediting oxidation. Um, it would make sense that that stainless steel doesn't do that as much. About time to stack a bit more fuel in here in a little bit. All right. Didn't expect to spend 2 hours making a tong clip, but I'm being pretty exacting about what I want to do, and I'm doing it in a solid fuel forge without a electric blower. So keeping the fire to the temp it needs to be, and then heating up the material does take a while. This is why I don't recommend any production blacksmith. If somebody wants to be a hobbyist who actually then can make money on the side from it, I wouldn't use a solid fuel forge without an electric blower. Me, I'm just doing this for fun because it's a fun outlet for me, a creative outlet for me. All right, let's get this pretty central before I go spreading things. Come on, Jack. You keep missing. Missing isn't going to get any metal moved. All right. What wasn't obvious is that I used the technique of that Hoffy does show of tilting the hammer to get a fuller in this direction, because I want to try to push some of that metal back towards the base. Not a lot, and so that's what I was doing there. You see, we're still a bit chonky, which is fine. We're not as chonky in that direction. That's my mistake from mishits. So I've got some material that I can use to pull the lobe out this way or push it that way a bit. So back into the fire and then we'll work on that some more. Forging the stainless will make it rust more easily. Is that true after I then give it a polish off? 1976. That is the year. let me think about this. 71, 70. I think that's about the year that my youngest brother was born. So, Ben, you give me so much grief, but you and I could be brothers. We're literally only 8 years apart. Again, you guys can't really see it from this angle, but I'm purposely trying to push metal that way since I had so much of it on this side. Not sure I'm being successful with that, but that was the goal. Yeah, it worked. Again, I still have a bit of thickness on this side, so we'll work on thinning that out. All right. And we still have a good amount of strength right in here, where the transition into that piece goes. So I don't expect this will break off easily or anything like that. Push in that little bit that I accidentally misstruck. It's amazing how much we can move metal around, right? All right. Yeah. All right. Now, if I want to get all decorative, I could definitely put in some lines and stuff. Probably will because I don't have, I'm not going to get to the other part of my project today. That's about as thin as I need that to be. Not creating a knife, so I don't need to really bevel this out. It could be, and then people would see it and think it's pretty, but I'm not giving this to people. This is going to be my tool. All right, let's do the other side, shall we? Let's see how I'm going to hold this. It might be time to get the box jaw tongs. Yeah, let's do that. Let's cool off the tongs and cool off my fingers while I'm at it because the nerves are getting a little bit annoyed. Numb it a little, that's all. It's a matter of the damage is already done. The nerves are going to be annoyed, but you can use some cooling agents, cold water, ice, aloe. People are used to that. Oh, these tongs will not work for this because of, not in that way anyway, but it will work this way. But they don't close up enough to get to the stem. So it'll work like this though. Yeah. 21 years later, still here. 1980. My better half um, is just slightly older than me. Is that? I don't think that's coal. I think that is. Let me see. Yep. And I don't want to leave that on the floor because Bruce will come along and step on it. So let's go over here, grab a pair of tongs, and get this hunk of crap out of my forge. We'll stack it on top of the other hunks of crap, aka dragon snot. All right. Oh, that's where it's supposed to be, and not in my forge. Go get things hot again. Your oldest was born in 80. And you could be his wife's father. Wow. The chromium evaporates slowly. Oh, that's interesting to know. Okay. Disappointing amount of rust on it. You forged it out of stainless, did you, Kevin? What are you gonna do with all the stuff you make, right? Craft shows. Yep, that is the thing to do. I mean, if you know, if your hobby gets to be abundant enough that you need to get rid of some stuff, that is probably the thing to do. We just celebrated. So yesterday was my wife's birthday. We are April Fools, so we just celebrated our, let's see, 2007, 7 and 8. Yep, I was right. 18th anniversary on April 1st. Love her to pieces, man. She has made my life infinitely richer for having come into it. Makes me feel like I am a somebody when I know I'm just a guy, but I'm somebody to her. I don't think she's still hanging out here. She probably went and took care of her dad. She just drops in from time to time, let me know she's thinking of me. All right. One more leaf, and then we turn it into a S. Now, these two leaves are no longer aligned because round piece of metal looks round even after it's been twisted. And I'm sure it twisted a bit. Oh, wow. Huh, that was a hell of a misstrike. And you can see where the fish lips happened. That's funny. But we'll clean that up. It'll clean up just fine. All right, let's get it back into the fire. Isn't that funny? Fish lip or deformed leaf? You decide. Easily fixed. 47 years, 10 months, 29 days. That's that's some commitment. Now day 30, she might do you in, but hey Roy, I was talking about you. I'm actually making one of my favorite things to imitate you. I started working on a shovel um, scoop part. I don't know what that part's called. And realized I could really use a tong clip. Went looking for the tong clip I previously made, inspired by you, and couldn't find it anywhere. So decided to make another one. I mean, one probably should have more than one tong clip in their shop, right? You can see where the fish lip happened. That's easily solved. I probably could just use the side of the anvil for it. We just come in here and we nip it off. Side of the anvil, like I said. Come on, line up. It's cold, it's thin, it should be weak enough to just snap off. Of course, I'd be wrong, apparently. There it is. Put it back in the fire, warm it up, and make a net slip out of it. Yeah, I know. I love that double leaf clip. It adds some style, some class. Everybody makes the C clip because it works well, but the double S, the double leaf S clip works well and is pretty. And if you're gonna do it, especially as a hobby, why not make pretty things? Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I can leave that alone. All right. You can see I ended up twisting along the way because round stock doesn't know when it's being twisted. So we'll go ahead and untwist it, I think. I don't think it makes sense to keep it twisted and make an S out of it. Let's see. Make an S in that direction with that. Yeah, no, we want to untwist it. All right. Easy to untwist, though. We heat up the middle, not the leaves. We don't want to break the leaves off of the stem. This was able to be done easily with just with two pairs of tongs. So let's go get that second pair. Or I could just put it in my vise and do it that way, and probably less risk that I will snap it. So let's dial the vise in. There we go. Oh, Daniel, you got back. So now you're off to another store to try and find it then, Daniel? On clips and left socks. It's always the left ones for you, huh? I'm almost out of fuel here, but I'm also almost out of minutes here. So it's really perfectly fine. When I say out of fuel, I mean fuel that's actually lit. Go ahead and get this here. You guys don't get to see it, but oh no. Yep. Well, this is the only downside of mounting your vise on your quench bucket. Sometimes things fall in. In this case, it fell in and I can't see what's down there. That's fun. Let's go get a different pair of tongs. Probably good to you've used the different pair of tongs to begin with. Now I got to try and see in the bottom of a bucket. The water's clear at least. But I didn't see where the piece fell. At least the bucket's only half full. Let's bring you into the show because, hey, why not? It's just fun to be able to see me struggle to find what I'm looking for. They're going to let me turn the light on while I have the camera going? Doesn't look like it. This is helpful. Hilarious. There we go. As the light's on. Hey, it's waterproof. Can I use the light to help me find things? Ah, it paused the camera. It is waterproof. We're going to try it. No, that doesn't help. The water diffracts everything. All right, fine. All that work, and I might have just lost it in the bottom of a of a quench tank. How funny is that? Ah, funny, funny stuff. Well, let's see if I can actually reach the bottom with my arm. I can. Hey, look, a chunk of charcoal. We'll go ahead and put that in the charcoal bucket. I don't know how a chunk of charcoal ended up in there, but it did. Hey, another chunk. And found it. I'm now dripping wet, but I found it. Recovered. Back into the fire. You didn't get away that easily. All right. Grab my flat jaw tongs. Something I probably should have been using to begin with. Stainless magnet. Right, magnet on a string for stainless. I'm sure that would have been great. Thanks for stopping in, Roy. I really appreciate it. Last store in town. Another store in another town. Wow, another galaxy. Geez. Yeah, and the stainless steel is notoriously magnetic, right? And when I say notoriously, I mean not. I haven't tested this stainless though. There is stainless that is magnetic, and there is stainless that is not magnetic. All right, second time is the winner, hopefully. There we go. Easy peasy, mac and cheesy. Now it's not twisting the wrong way, as we can see here. Now I can turn it into an S hook. And we're literally down to some of the last embers in the fire. I'll bring you over and you can see. As in some of this material that's in here that's hot may not even be, no, nope, this is all good stuff back in there. Hey, that's Percy. Hi, Percy. Oh, Percy's showing off. You guys got to see Percy. Come on. Come on. Percy, turn this way. Percy, oh, there you go. Can y'all see him? I don't know if you can see him. He's doing his dance. There he is. Look at all that plumage. He's looking gorgeous. And he's going to have three peahens to work with. See, so little fuel left in there now. Just enough to finish the job. Strainer bucket for the slack tub. Shaped like a mustache. Mustache handles. There you go. Let's see if I burn it up in there. All right, let's bring it back here. You guys can see the last little bit, which is basically just shaping it into an S. I think the focus will be all at the horn. Put this away. That ain't the tool to use. Figure out where I set the tool I'm going to use down, because I did. Ugh, there it is. Kind of in a proper place. Kind of. So there you go, guys. I actually still blacksmith. Good. So who was it that asked me if I was going full Yamez playing Minecraft while sick? Honestly, I probably could do it right now, but I think I want a little bit more heat in one spot. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna work the part that is hot. Get it over here. Of course, now it's cooling off so fast, it's not gonna work. Let's find out. We want to go this way with it. And I got to go the other way with it in a minute. Let's go get it back in the heat. Oof, on the ground. What? Drop forged. This one's going to be a small clip. Hopefully, it's going to be big enough. Might have to work on that. Go in the opposite direction. Of course, it'd be great if I could actually hold it still. There we go. Back in the fire. It cools off fast. Small metal cools off fast. No surprise. And we're 2 minutes past the hour, which is quitting time, but I do want to finish this little thing and it'll be done. Hello, beautiful. Everybody wished us a happy anniversary and a happy birthday to you. Oh no, who bit you? There's a first aid kit in there, I think. There we go. We're getting there. Like, again, for the non-Smiths in the room or that come by the channel, you don't use a horn to form the metal to its shape. You use the horn as a surface so you can move the metal around. It doesn't mean you can't use the horn that way, but that's not the typical use. It's not a forming tool. It is a component of leverage, a shape that gets out of your way. There are um, tools that are forming tools. For example, a cone mandrel. It just so happens Alex Steele decided that he kind of wanted to integrate a cone mandrel into his horn. So he literally um, had it manufactured, and then he would put it on a lathe and turn it round. It probably made his cost so high, which is why he stopped making these anvils. That sounds not like clean it out. Definitely have to clean out the forge before next use. So I'm fortunate to have um, one of his anvils because it is an extremely high quality product that he probably sunk too much into designing and implementing and fulfilling. All right, almost done. Is it good enough? Yeah, it's hit the ground a number of times, that's for sure. All right, let's see if I can tighten it up just a little bit more. All right, there we go. That should allow me to do just a little bit more. Come on. Wow. There we go. That is a done product. Let's get it so it's not out of whack here. Come on. Hold still. Enough. Probably could throw it in my vise and squish it closed or squish it flat. May have to throw it in the fire to give it the. Oh, apparently, my jaw doesn't close all the way. Now that it's hit the dirt again, go ahead and throw it in here one more time. There it is. And there goes my laptop. Ah, let's pick you up off the ground, because heavens knows that's not the best place for my laptop to be. See if I broke anything. Oof. Oh, look at that. Somehow, let's go here. One more minute. Am I still online? I am still online. Looks like I had a little bit of issue with drop frame rates at some point. I didn't know it. Wow. I might be just SOL. Well, let's see. Let's find out. Nope, we're good. There it is. Flat. Let's give it a buff. See if it gets shiny again. Who knows? After all this, there may not be anything about this that's stainless, according to my new learning from. Get back here. You're not allowed to go jumping around. All right. That's better. I forgot to turn on noise protection on my headphones. I'm sure it doesn't help you guys, but it's another part of safety protection one should consider when they're sniffing. right. Yeah, looks like stainless steel to me still, but we'll only time will tell. Do-do-do-do. I'm surprised nobody jumped in and said "mana mana" when I was humming that song earlier today. Looks good. Looks good. I think we're getting that any cleaner. Now we just wait and see if it rusts, right? We'll go ahead and plunge it in a cool bath so I can actually physically touch it. Although as small as the stuff was, it probably was already cool, or at least only warm. Its color, probably from the quench, just changed to a nice dark gray instead of a shiny product. But if I'm really, really fortunate, I'll come back and find that it's still rust resistant. Now, back to what started all this, which was me grabbing this, which is probably cool now too, and realizing a pair of tong clips would be welcome right about now. So we just go down here, we grab this, we pull the tong clip as far up as I can pull it, making it so that it is extremely unlikely this is coming out of here. Look at that, peoples. This was the purpose of the effort. And I can pick that up next time and then turn that into a shovel. So, thanks for hanging out with me, folks. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate you dealing with my technical changes. I really appreciate being able to stand here and be part of the conversation while I'm turning the crank. So I'm probably going to spend a little time trying to figure that out. Um, as I did touch on safety equipment, I'm going to continue that thought process for a second more. You could see John Switzer always says, go ahead and wear your safety glasses. I did that today. I got the safety smock on. I've got, let's grab this right side here. I've got the shirt on that would prevent me from getting catching on fire should something hot hit it. Even the kilt I'm wearing today is made of non-synthetic fibers. Why? Because synthetic fibers melt when caught on fire. So we don't want that. About the only other thing that safety related that I thwart, just because I'm vain, and that is one probably would do better as a smith if they didn't have a beard. But I mean, it's part of my image. So that and the mustache. So I hope you folks who hung out here found some entertainment value out of all this, or uh, you know, camaraderie at minimum, because that's what I get out of it is the time spent with y'all, just as I would if I'd been in person with friends. You know, being able to shoot the shit, as one says, and you know, do something fun while at it. So my recommendation to y'all is find something fun to do, and if you can include some friends in the process, do that. And until next time, same challenge I offer every week: be a light in the world and spread love. Love and light, everybody.